Hello, my friends. So this is going to be kind of an unusual rant. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the history of Gardnerian Wicca, but I'm also going to be addressing some comments that a Facebook group member made on a particular video that I had posted in a Facebook group. So I hope you enjoy. When I say that his form of Wicca was whitewashed and ridiculously simplified, not ridiculous, just ridiculously simplified, what I meant is that the moralism of the Rede, the parts that actually were original, has little parallel in any historical European paganism. Yes, Mr. E, you are correct. Now, when you are saying the Rede, I want you to understand how the Rede evolved. And when I say Rede, I mean the Wiccan Rede, R-E-D-E. I don't know if you mean the Wiccan Creed, which Dorian Valiente also wrote. But the Rede that we have today is based upon Gerald Gardner's The Meaning of Witchcraft, 1959. He says that witches are inclined to the morality of the legendary good King Pascal. And this morality is do what you like as long as you harm no one. In 1964, Dorian Valiente changed it to sound more authentic or more archaic. And she wrote it as 8 words the Wiccan Rede fulfill, and it harm none. Do what you will. In 1975, a lady by the name of Gwen Thompson wrote an article for Green Egg magazine, issue number 69 for Ostara of 1975, where she wrote a 50-word poem. In 1978, Dorian Valiente wrote The Witch's Creed. So yes, it does not have any parallels in historical paganism. I don't believe that there would be any historical paganism of any Rede or anything like that. This is, again, Gerald Gardner's form of witchcraft. Mr. E, I also want to express that Gerald Gardner was not a Gardnerian Wiccan back then. Gerald Gardner was claiming to be a witch. He claimed to have been initiated into a coven of the Wicca in 1939. His practice was witchcraft. That's what he called it. Later on, people said those Gardnerians, and it became Gardnerian craft, and then later on became Gardnerian Wicca. The same thing with Alexandrian tradition. Alexandrian Wicca, or those Alexandrians, were the name changed to differentiate the people from the Gardnerians. That was another change. Even though they still practiced witchcraft, there came to be the Gardnerians, and then there became the Alexandrians, and then other branches, other forms of Wicca evolved off of those particular branches. There was even a form of Algard, which was a combination, or still is today, a combination of Alexandrian and Gardnerian tradition. Okay, much less in the folk magic from which Wicca was supposedly drawn, and that the magical formulae and curriculum included in the original 3 degrees are very, very similar to older methodologies, just so much simpler that the ease of learning is only matched by the volume of material omitted. The type of magic that Gerald Gardner was practicing at the time was a combination of low magic and high magic. Now, low magic or high magic doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It just means that usually the lower classes, the cunning folk, practiced this type of magic, and it was more concerned with simple fortune telling, finding thieves, curing infertility, all these various things, herbalism, what we would call country witchcraft or hedge witchery. Then you have high magic, which was the higher classes, the people who were the alchemists, the people who were the Freemasons, the people who were into the Kabbalah, people into astrology and mathematicians and science and art, lower class magic, higher class magic. Gerald Gardner essentially put these two together. He took from the lower peasantry, cunning folk traditions, and he also pulled from the high magic traditions and melded these together to become like a middle ground practice of magic. That was his practice. All that said, Wicca is a great way to learn the truths of the universe. Wicca may be a way to learn the truths of the universe, and I'm not making initiatory traditions any better than non-initiatory traditions or group practice versus solitary practice, but I'm just going to put this out there. The Wicca, or the tradition of a lot of British traditional Wicca, or here in America what we call British traditional Wicca, is an initiatory mystery tradition. And this initiatory mystery tradition really can only be passed along through a lineage, through initiation. Those people who practice Wicca who are not part of an initiatory mystery tradition, unfortunately, they don't get that aspect of the mystery tradition, but I'm sure that they get something else out of it, otherwise they wouldn't be practicing it. So what are the types of Wicca? There is initiatory Wicca, there is non-initiatory Wicca, there is group, and there is solitary. Initiatory is usually in a group, but there are initiatory solitaries. There are non-initiatory groups, and there are non-initiatory solitaries. Now, what does the term Wicca cover? Wicca covers approximately after the date of about 1985, there stopped being just Wicca being a term for initiatory traditions. It also began to encompass non-initiatory solitaries and groups. So of Wicca initiatory, it is usually coven-based. It is purely an initiatory mystery tradition. There is a specific ritual structure. It is practiced by 3 or more people. It is a lineage tradition, and there are typically degree systems, usually about 3 degrees. There's access to past knowledge and experience. Of the initiatory Wicca traditions, there's Gardnerian, Alexandrian, Algard, which is a combination of Gardnerian and Alexandrian tradition. There are other branches of these. There's usually a past book of shadows that is passed on through the tradition, and the witch creates their own personal book of shadows. Now, in comparison to a non-initiatory Wicca tradition, which can be groups, and there are solitaries. Usually, this type of Wicca tradition is accessible to anyone via published books that are based off an initiatory ritual framework. It is practiced by 1 or more individuals. It is a non-lineage tradition. There's no need for a degree system, and the people learn as they go. Usually, it is based on a Gardnerian or Alexandrian, or based on the author's version of their tradition. It is mainly an eclectic practice. It is a hodgepodge of beliefs, philosophies, and practices. The individual witch still creates their own personal book of shadows. What is a Wiccan ritual structure? For a lineage tradition, they typically celebrate the 12 to 13 Esbats in a solar year. They celebrate the Sabbats, which are 8 a year. It is coven-based or group. It is polytheistic, having specific god and goddess. There's a ritual structure which is specific. And they create ritual space between the worlds to protect and to contain. There is consecration with elements of water, earth, air, and fire. They invite the guardians or elements based on the tradition. They invite specific god and goddess forms. They practice witchcraft. There is specific and necessary tools for the work, and it tends to be oath-bound. A eclectic Wicca tradition celebrates 12 to 13 full moons a year. They celebrate the 8 Sabbats. It is non-coven based and can be solitary. It is still polytheistic, worshipping a god and a goddess. The ritual structure is more open. They still create ritual space between the worlds to protect and to contain. They still consecrate with the elements of water, earth, air, and fire. They invite the guardians or elements of 4 directions. They invite the god and goddess to be present. They practice witchcraft. They use their own personal tools and effects. And it is typically not oath-bound. This is truly true. The fact that the invocation methodology is technically very, very similar to the methods taught by Aleister Crowley, the Golden Dawn, and has roots deep in the Middle Ages, if not earlier, doesn't invalidate Wicca. It simply invalidates any stance of originality or proprietary cultural rights to any of it. The English really are very proud of what they have given to the world. They gave Wicca to the world. So in that sense, it is a part of English culture. So that is the end of this particular video. I apologize. It's not like some other videos that I usually do. And this video is really intended for this particular person, but I thought I would share it with other people just so that other people could get an idea of my thoughts of how Gardnerian Wicca has evolved over the years. So for that, I thank you and blessed. Thank you and blessed be.
Oh, I'm going to show you how wrong you are. You stupid, big-eared, dumb-looking son of a...
You, hey. Yes, me, on YouTube.
What? Are you talking to me?
Yes, I'm talking to you. What are you typing?
I'm typing how much I disagree with your video. You got it all wrong.
It's okay to disagree with me and tell me I'm wrong, but look at what you're writing.
I wrote, I am going to show you how wrong you are, you stupid, big-eared, dumb-looking...
If you don't agree with my opinion, that's fine. Say so. But you don't have to insult me and call me names. Also, if I got something wrong, just tell me. And if you really want to educate me, support your claim with some real evidence.
Okay. Good idea.
No problem. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Right you are. You know, I'm glad we had this.
And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.